Welcome to Word Alive with Fidelia. Today we'll talk about how to stop complaining. We complain a lot for everything, so let us talk about how to stop complaining. What is complaint? It is a statement that a situation is unsatisfactory or unacceptable, like we're expressing dissatisfaction or annoyance about something. Another word for complaint can be grumbling. Some people will complain about almost everything. A first spot you will call them. Why do people complain? Some may complain just to make a point, draw attention to themselves, to also make the other person maybe feel they are being treated unfairly, like getting an emotional validation and validation of your beliefs, just making themselves important. Some just out of laziness or failure in achieving their goals and just to make some excuses. Some out of their pain, they complain, like why me? And make others to like feel sorry for them, to empathize for them, with them, like poor me. Some just to use it to get that emotional satisfaction. There are other people that no matter what you give them or what you do right, they will always complain and never too good or enough. Some people also never want others to be acknowledged unless it is them. When you praise or acknowledge the good works of, say, a team member at work, that will be the time you see them pinning one fault about the person and requesting why no one has ever acknowledged them as well. In one of my podcasts, I talk about cultivating the attitude of gratitude in whatever situation we are in. This will help us to stop complaining or comparing, and we also encourage gratitude and optimism. Complaining is not good. God detests it because of its dangers. What are the dangers of complaining? Complaining can limit our ability to live to the fullness, as it encourages the I can't do attitude. Look at Gideon and Moses limiting themselves. Gideon said, how could he deliver Israel when his clan was the weakest in Manasseh and he was the youngest in his father family? Judges 6:15. On the other hand, Moses complained of his stuttering problem. He said he wasn't eloquent enough to stand before Pharaoh to deliver Israel. Exodus 4:10-13. But we should understand, when God wants us to do something or He wants to use us, He will grant us the ability to carry on as well. Complaining encourages jealousy, strife, gossips, unhealthy comparison, and lack of gratitude. Look at the prodigal son's brother. He was jealous and angry because the father celebrated the homecoming of his brother, the third that died. He said, all these years I have been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet, no celebration for me. Even though he had a point, as his brother went to squander his father's wealth in another land, but love could have conquered that bitterness, as complaint can come from a place of bitterness. Luke 15:29. Another example is Genesis 31:1, when Laban's sons complained that Jacob had taken over everything their father owned and that he made himself wealthy from what belongs to their father. Philippians 2:14-15 says, do everything without complaining, grumbling, or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, and without fault, that you will shine among them like stars in the sky. One of the passages in the Bible that dreads so much about complaint is the book of Numbers 11, when the Israelites on their exodus to the promised land complained so much against Moses and against God. Of course, God's wrath came upon them. That's how much God hates complaints. They complained from one thing to the other, despite the terrific miracles God performed before their eyes, subduing their enemies, making a way out of the Red Sea to cross over, preserving their children from the angel of death, mannas falling from heaven, water from the rock, the various plagues that visited the Egyptians and sparing their own families and homes, and many more. They had forgotten God's power and provisions in the past whenever they were faced with new challenges. I think same can be said of us today, that we complain too in different ways or murmured when faced with issues of life or when called to do something. Some murmur even when offering is requested. You hear people say, "Oh, this is getting too much." I complain too, especially when in the kitchen cooking or doing chores or at work. You always have that feeling that they left the whole task for you to do. You know, those kind of murmurings, you want people to also have their share some tasks as well. But how do we stop complaining? I would suggest that we have a positive attitude to life and in relating with others. If you have genuine concerns over an issue, address it objectively with a view to resolving amicably and not to complain about it. Remember, we talk about honesty and integrity. If you are not able to do something, do not pretend, whether in giving or doing something. Just be honest about it, that you will not be able to do it, rather than taking up the task or doing something and later complaining about it. Any task or things that we do should be done out of free will and not done under pressure or to please people. Neither are we in competition with others. Such will remove God's blessing that He wanted to bestow on us if we start complaining for any act of kindness that we do. We had also talked about the spirit of gratitude, because when we are grateful for everything and in everything, you will complain less. People are hard to satisfy as nothing is ever good enough. James 5:9 says, "Do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged." I believe James was stressing the importance of not complaining, nor getting to the point of getting frustrated. Let me leave you with this beautiful piece called the Serenity Prayer. It was written by an American theologian. His name is Reinhold Niebuhr. The prayer means letting go of situations beyond our control and taking action towards things within our control. It goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. May God grant us the grace to love and appreciate God and others so much that we can serve without grudge or complaint. That way, we shall receive God's blessings in full. Thanks for listening and have a blessed weekend.